So the key points from the partitions is partitions will improve your query performance as well as your processing performance. So the processing performance by setting the parallel connections to the SQL server or the underlying database and reading the data, and query performance by defining the slices and by skipping the scan of multiple partitions when the query is triggered on the analysis services. And another important point is like you can create a number of partitions, but you have to be very careful when you create more and more partitions. I have seen databases with 2000 partitions or more than that, but the performance was really pathetic for when they do some maintenance jobs like migrating the database from one server to the another server. It was like very pathetic. The 5 GB database with 2000 partitions will take more close to 2 hours to do the job, whereas with limited partitions like 10 to 20 and with 100 GB in size, it will take only 1 hour. You can see how much impact it has in the maintenance job, maintaining stuff. So don't create partitions and create partitions wisely. And the most important question is how frequently you create partitions. So the partitions will be created whenever there is a data. Like if you're getting daily data, then you need to create partitions daily to avoid the historical data processing every time. Let's say you have a 100 days of data, and what you'll be doing is you'll be processing this on the particular date, this one on the next date, next day, next day, and so on. You process 99 days of data. Now you get fresh data for today. What you'll be doing is you'll not process all the 99 partitions again, which will take a lot of time, right? So what you'll be doing here is you'll be processing only the newly added partition. So thus it saves a lot of time. It's called incremental load, right? You will be loading only the current data or the newly added records from the database. So this is also one advantage if you have partitions. Let's assume you don't have multiple partitions, and if you have only one partition, then this partition will have all the 100 days data. And if there is anything change or if you need to do process full of the partition, then you need to read all the 100 days of data. Here it's not the case. If you do process full of this, only this particular partition data will be read. And if you want to do process full of this date, only this particular partition data will be read, and it will not have impact on the other partitions. So how frequently you create partitions, it depends on the data, how frequently you get the data. If you get data weekly, then you can create weekly partitions and process it. If you create data monthly, then you can create monthly partitions. And if your database is updated only once in a quarter, then you can create quarterly partitions. And the last thing is like if you get data daily, it's better to go ahead with the daily partitions. But make sure after reaching few partitions like 400, 500 partitions, try to purge the old partitions, or purge means delete the old partitions if this data is not required for the analysis for your users. Then you can delete it, or you can merge it. Like you can take 30 days and you can merge it into one partition and call it as month partition. Instead of having daily partitions, you better maintain month partitions for historical data, because users won't be querying the historical data very frequently, like 2 years back or 3 years back data. They'll be concentrating on current weeks, current days, current months, and current month to last year same month. Maximum 2 years they'll be interested in, as far as I've seen so far. So merging partitions is also a good option if you want to maintain the partition count in limit, or purging partitions is even better. And remember one more thing, if you create more and more partitions, and if you do process of only one partition per day, the newly added partition on the day, then it's always good to schedule a process full of the database once in a quarter to avoid disk fragmentation issues. So that is one suggestion from Microsoft, like schedule a process full once in a quarter to avoid disk fragmentation issues. So you don't need to worry about disk fragmentation issues. That's the job of DBA guys. They'll be taking